Facebook page, as well as Good Form Running actually has a YouTube channel, if you didn't know that. So a lot of these videos are on there as well. So lots of really good resources where you can, if you're maybe forgot a specific point or something like that, some information, you can go back and get a quick refresher. And most of these videos are like 1 minute to 2 minutes each. So really good quick hits to where you don't have to go to a whole 75-minute class and listen to me babble for too long. So I know a lot of you have done that enough already and can't really handle anymore. So that's good. So yeah, we're going to do a quick overview of both good form running and good form walking as well. Maybe point out some of the differences and how you might practice each of those. For those of you that don't know me or haven't been to my class, like Marcia said, my name is DJ. I do work at Playmakers both on the floor and as a good form running instructor, as well as a couple other hats that I wear. I actually started off teaching good form running down in Atlanta, where I'm originally from. I ran for Georgia Tech for a number of years, and then post-collegiately started working at a running store down there, and had never heard of running form. Never was taught to run differently. That it's a skill that you could be taught until after college, unfortunately. And then once I realized all of the benefits of, actually practicing the skill of running with better form, I got really passionate about teaching it, because I thought if I could, miss on that really vital information, and a lot of other people probably are as well, and maybe I could have been faster, maybe I could have avoided a number of injuries and a lot of stress from those injuries. So I just wanted to get this information out as much as possible. So I taught it there for a couple of years. I was in Arizona for a while teaching it. Now I've been here for over 5.5 years, kind of the home base or mecca of good form. So it's been really awesome helping to kind of help develop and grow the program and get to interact with you guys. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to do, as I'm showing these videos, I'm just going to kind of share my screen so you kind of be able to watch these videos. I'm going to start off with a video that kind of identifies what common form is. And common form is just what we refer to as the way that most people run before learning good form or any other kind of running styles, but it's just kind of what most people have a tendency to do without practicing this another specific technique. So I'm going to share my screen here and we'll watch that. It's a quick, I think, 1-minute video.
Common form refers to the technique that most people use before learning the skill of running with good form. When we look at posture, the most common mistake we see is excessive bending from the waist. This causes the muscles in your hips to tighten and puts unnecessary stress on your back. With landing, the most significant error most runners make is they overstride and land on their heels. This can be shown by the check mark created at the moment of truth. This creates braking and friction, which wears your shoes down faster, but most importantly, it can wear your knees and body down prematurely. When we look at a runner's lean, we frequently see a backwards lean, which causes you to slow down as you have to work against gravity and your own momentum.
All right, so that's it. Pretty simple. That's what we see the most commonly. We see that forward lean from the trunk or from the hips, which is what we call YouTube autoplays, which is so a forward lean from the hips, or what we call a seated position. This puts a lot of stress on our lower back. It tightens up our hips, reduces that our kind of stride length that we can get. So those are the most common things that we see with posture. And so good form running and good form walking are both 3 points: posture, landing, and lean. We always start off with posture because it's going to set us up the best for implementing the landing and the lean effectively. So the next video I'm going to show is another short clip. It goes over good form posture, and then even gives you a little information on what good form posture is, and then some drills and some tools that you can use to help practice that good form posture.
The first point of good form running is posture. We begin with posture because the body in good alignment has the best chance to move efficiently. As soon as our posture falls apart, not only putting extra stress on our body, but it's even tough to move ourselves in an efficient manner. So we want to make sure that we're always starting off in good posture and we're maintaining that throughout the entire run. As a quick review, posture, we want our feet straight, our knees relaxed, we want our hips underneath our torso, our shoulders back, compact, relaxed arm swing, our head level and looking straight ahead. A good tool that we can use to maintain that good posture is called a posture reset. It's pretty simple. All you do is clasp your hands out in front like this, get your body tall, reaching as high as you can, turn your arms in, arms fall, have that compact, relaxed arm swing. So it's something that you can use before your runs so that you can start off with a good posture, and then you can even use it throughout your run as you're going. You can do a posture reset to make sure that you're maintaining it for as much as possible. Another really good tool that you can utilize is a posture pipe. This could be any stick that's 2 to 3 feet in length, whether it's a broomstick or this is just a simple PVC pipe. Put this behind your back and between your arms. It's going to force you to maintain that posture, keeping that back straight and those shoulders back as well. So again, something that you can warm up with before your run, or you can even take it out on a run to make sure that you're practicing that good posture as well. Remember, with arm swing, 2 things we don't want to do is we don't want to cross over the center line of our body and twist and turn, and we don't want to reach out too much. A tool that we can use to help us be more aware of our arm swing are hand grips. Again, this can be anything that you find around your house that's 6 to 8 inches in length. You put in your hands, you're going to have more proprioception, or just awareness of where your hands and your arms are. So something that you jog around with to build that awareness of your arm swing, or even take it out on your runs. So that's posture. It's pretty simple, but something that you have to practice. The 3 points to good form running are posture, landing, and lean, and this is just one of them. But the better your posture is, the better you're going to be able to implement the landing and lean as well. Have a good run, guys. Hope to see you later.
All right, so that was good form posture. Again, try to keep it pretty simple. The idea is, oh my gosh. We don't want to crouch too much. We don't want to hunch forward. We don't want to bend forward from our hips. We want to keep a nice, tall, straight alignment. And the 3 tools that we discussed are a posture reset. Make sure you always do a posture reset before your run. And then especially as you're trying to learn this new posture, might be a good idea on some runs, maybe you set your watch and you set a timer on your watch, and every 10 minutes you're doing another posture reset to make sure that you're maintaining that good posture throughout the entire run. Posture is pretty easy to start off with. What we find is that it gets more and more difficult as the run progresses and as you fatigue, because your body wants to get lazy and kind of get into this more common forward slouching posture. But that's when it's the most important. Again, remember, as your posture falls apart, the landing and the lean are going to be much more difficult to implement. So you're just going to have these compounding effects if you don't maintain that posture. So when you're first trying to learn it, do those posture resets as much as possible. You're teaching your body through that repetition. This is the position that I want you to be in, and you can actually build your awareness that way. If you move away from that, you can make those corrections. The posture pipe is really great. Whether if you don't have one, you can come into the store, and we have hundreds of them. Thanks to Pete and a bandsaw cutting those up, and Rob too. So we have tons of those we can give you, or if you just got a broomstick or something sitting around the house where you can put it behind your back and maybe warming up with it before your run. Again, you're building that awareness, and then cooling down with it after your run when you're a little bit more fatigued. Again, practicing that posture and on all good form points while you're tired is just as important as when you're fresh as well. And then those hand grips. I know arm swing and hand movement were some of my biggest struggles. They call me a little drummer boy because I kind of kept my hands down by my side. I didn't really move them too much. So I had a hard time just like moving them the correct amount because I felt like I was Forrest Gump. I was really over pumping them. So those hand grips helped build my awareness for how much I was actually moving my arms. I would also find a treadmill next to a mirror. That way I could tie the physical feeling of what it felt like to go through those movements with the visual feedback, because a lot of times there's this disparity between what we feel like we're doing and what we're actually doing. So having that visual feedback instantly is really beneficial as well. So yeah, a couple of really great tools for posture. It's going to have a really big impact on how well you can actually implement the remaining points. So we want to make sure that we're maintaining that as much as possible throughout the run. So the second point of good form running is landing. It's probably the most crucial point because it's going to influence our efficiency and our injury rate the most. So as we saw in the common form video, most people are overstriding and heel striking. So they're reaching really far out. The joints are locked out. They're applying a big braking force in the opposite direction. So they're slowing themselves down. So we'll watch now a quick video on good form landing, where we want to land with good form, and some tools that we can help with that can help with that as well. Let me just find this real quick and go.
The third point of good form running is lean.
Of course, I picked the wrong video. Here it is.
The second point to good form running is landing. With landing, we're going to land underneath our center of mass and on our midfoot. A good tool that we can use to help us practice and maintain that good landing is to jog in place. So I'm going to do a quick posture reset, body tall, arms fall, compact relaxed arm swing, and I'm going to jog in place. I can do this for a couple of minutes before my run and just going to build our awareness for what underneath and on that midfoot is. That way, as I start my run, I'm more aware and I can implement it during that run. Another tool that we can use is a step ladder. I'm just using sticks here, which you can buy one at the store, or you can chalk them out about 1 to 2 feet in your driveway. If I run through this ladder and I put one foot into each step, it's going to force me to land underneath myself and not allow me to overstride. So again, something you can do right before your run to help to practice and build your awareness. Another tool that we can utilize is the metronome. A metronome is going to help you increase your cadence, which is just the number of steps you take per minute while you walk or run. What I want to do is increase my cadence so that I land more underneath myself and on that midfoot. So I've downloaded one on my phone here. What I'm going to do is start it off at about 180 cadence, and I'm going to jog in place, trying to take a step every time the metronome beats. Now, at first, this 180 might feel really quick because you're used to much lower cadence. So what I'm going to do is over-exaggerate the cadence, slowly increasing it a little bit at a time. Now I've gotten up to about 220. So I'm going to jog in place like this for a couple of seconds. Again, trying to take a step every time it beats. I'm going to slowly lower it back down. And now that I've gotten back down to 180, it feels a lot easier because I practiced that quicker cadence. So again, a tool you can utilize both before your run, and even taking your phone and practicing it during your run is going to help you keep that landing underneath and on your midfoot. So that's landing. It's the second point of good form running, which is posture, landing, and lean. It's going to help you run faster, easier, and with fewer injuries. Have a good run, guys. Thanks. Bye.
All right, there you go. So that's landing. Again, we want to land as close to underneath our center of mass as possible, making first contact on that midfoot. Every little bit that we overstride or reach out in front of our center of mass, we're applying a greater and greater braking force, which means it's slowing us down. We're going to be more efficient. We're not going to be able to go as far. We're not going to be able to go as fast, as well as it's putting a lot more stress on our body. We are also locking our joints out more, our knees and our ankles, which are our body's suspension system. They're designed and they move in a way that helps to absorb and dissipate impact. And the straighter our leg is as we reach out and create that check mark, the more locked out those joints are, and then the less we're able to do that. So using the cadence as a tool in order to increase our cadence, and that will help us to shorten our stride and get that landing more underneath ourselves. We use roughly at about 180 in class as a good example, but we want to remember that 180 is not a magic number. It's a rough average. I would say on average, most people are going to be between 170 and 190 for their running cadence, depending on a number of things, just general body build. I'm about 5'7". I run with Spence. If you haven't met him, he's another one of our instructors. He's about half a foot taller than I am. When we go on our runs, he usually averages 175. I usually average 185, but we're both right underneath ourselves. My tiny man-child legs have to spin a little faster to keep up with his real human-sized legs. So remember, we're just using that cadence as a tool. That 180 is not a magic number. If you're running and you notice that you're maybe overstriding a little bit, or you feel like you're hitting the ground a little hard, increase your cadence until you feel like you're not, and it feels smoother and softer. and you're more underneath yourself, and that can be your cadence at that specific pace. Again, practicing that quicker cadence at different points in the run, when you're fresh and when you're tired, as well as different paces. Cadence does not necessarily dictate pace. Just because we want you to increase your cadence doesn't mean we want you to run faster the whole time, but it is going to change as you change your pace. So as you maybe are training, you're doing some easy runs, you're doing some workouts, be conscious of what your cadence is for both of those, and that will help you tune your landing a little bit better for all those as well. The step ladder, again, is really great as well to help you practice that. So that's landing. Again, all of this is gonna feel a little bit weird at first, but the more you practice it, the easier it will feel. And practicing it at a slower pace is typically a little bit easier to start off. Now watch a quick video on lean, the third point of good form running, which I had started earlier. So to find it, here it is.
Lean. Lean utilizes our body weight with gravity to create forward momentum. We want to avoid bending from the hips. So we always want to maintain that good posture from our ankle through our hips and shoulders. And instead, we want to get our lean from our ankles. A couple ways that we can help to build awareness and practice that lean. First, I'm going to do a quick posture reset. And while standing in place and keeping my feet flat on the ground, I'm going to shift my body weight over my foot. Again, leaning from my ankles. You'll kind of feel your toes gripping the ground. Now while I'm in this position, I'm just going to lift one foot up, and what you'll notice is you'll kind of naturally fall forward, and you're also going to land more underneath yourself. Now I'm going to do a quick posture reset. Jog in place for a couple of seconds. Now while I'm jogging in place, I'm just going to, again, lean forward from my ankles, and you'll feel yourself slowly start to accelerate as you apply that gas pedal. While you're on your runs, you can be leaning forward and then lean back. To contrast, whenever you lean back, you're going to apply the brakes, and then when I lean forward again, I'm going to start to accelerate and move forward faster. So you can use that contrasting to really feel the difference between a forward lean and a backwards lean, applying the brakes and then applying the gas. So that's the third point of good form running. It's lean. Good form running is posture, landing, and lean. They're going to help you run faster, easier, and more injury-free.
All right, so that's lean. It's a pretty simple concept, and it makes a lot of sense when you just hear it out loud, but it makes a huge difference. There's a couple degrees forward, and you can really feel the momentum start to pick up. You smooth out a lot. You get less bouncy or have less vertical oscillation, and it just feels a lot easier. We're just not, again, it's just about building that awareness. We're not, most people are either too upright or even leaning backwards some, and that's going to adversely affect our momentum. We're just not aware that we're doing it. So doing that contrast can help us build our awareness for what those different feelings feel like. And yeah, just practicing it, and it'll feel more and more normal. So yeah, those are the 3 points to good form running. They're posture, landing, and lean. Again, good form walking have the same 3 points. We got posture, landing, and lean. There's going to be a few differences between those two. So I actually have a couple videos of Jan, the notorious GFW coach. So she's really good. She created a couple videos that demonstrate some of the differences between common form walking and good form walking. So we'll look at those, and then we'll discuss some of the difference between walking and running as well.
This is an example of common form walking. Here you see an overstride, stepping out farther than necessary. The foot is hitting the ground hard, with the back of the heel more toward the ground. The foot is pulled up. The knee is locked and tight, and this sends braking forces backwards. The arms are flinging in either direction, not helping with the mechanics of moving forward. And you can also see that as the movement is forward, because of this overstride, the posture is leaning backwards. Again, not efficient to the forward moving pattern. This is common form.
So again, see a lot of similarities between the common form walking and the common form running, right? So where the posture is off, the arm swing is wasting energy, the landing, we're reaching out too much, the leg is straight, the knees are locked out, we're applying braking forces. So in reality, we're committing a lot of the same mistakes while we're walking as when we're running. So now we'll watch a quick video of good form walking and what that looks like, and then we'll discuss some of the differences between the two.
This is an example of good form walking. Notice the lighter, easier stepping, closer to the center of gravity of the body, landing lightly on the flat of the heel, shortened stride, more relaxed foot. There is a little softness in the knee, so the knee is slightly bent. The arms are compact and relaxed near the body. The lean is slightly forward. And the look is ahead to see where you're going. This is good form walking.
So again, short and sweet, and again, we see a lot of similarities between good form walking and good form running, right? So the posture is straight, the arm swing is compact and relaxed. Landing is where we're gonna see some of the biggest differences between walking and running, because in running, we actually launch ourselves into the air. We're actually flying at one point. So if you're ever on a run, I'm flying, well, it's because you actually are. In walking, we always have one foot at the ground, on the ground. So what that does is it makes it a little bit tougher while we're walking to get directly underneath our center of mass. But the general point is that we want to land as close to underneath that center of mass as possible. So while we're not going to be directly underneath, as in running, with walking, we want to shorten that stride as much as possible so that we're landing underneath. Again, that's going to allow us to land in as soft as the knee as possible. And instead of landing on the far back side of the heel, you're going to land more on the base of the heel or right on the bottom of the heel. That's going to create less of an angle and less of a braking force that we can roll over a little bit more easily. So yeah, and then with lean, again, lean is our gas pedal. So with running, you're generally going a little bit faster than when you're walking. So while the lean might be a little bit more subtle while we're walking, we want to make sure that it's still there. It's not non-existent, because it is going to help with that forward momentum even while walking as well. And then as you pick up the pace, maybe you're doing a walk to run, you might lean forward a little bit more. You'll start to land a little bit more underneath yourself. Your cadence might pick up a little bit, but you want to continue to implement the same principles, right? Still posture, landing, and lean, just with some small tweaks as you pick up the pace and the cadence a little bit, maybe lean forward a little bit more. So really important, not just while we're out on our walks or out on our runs, but also, again, throughout the day. What I've liked about good form walking mostly is that, especially a busy day out on the Playmaker sales floor, I'm focusing on my good form walking. Number one, I'm not going to be as tired at the end of the day. And number two, I'm actually practicing my running form while I'm walking as well, because they're so similar. So I'm building that muscle memory and those movement patterns just throughout the entire day instead of just during my, maybe 30 to 60-minute run. And I'm going to be a lot more likely to implement those on subsequent runs and days. So yeah, that's a quick overview of everything. We had good form running and good form walking. We went over the points and the differences between the two. Remember, all of those resources that I showed you are on our YouTube channel. So you just go into YouTube and search good form playmakers. You'll be able to rewatch all of those if you want, and just kind of, okay, today I'm going to practice my posture. So I'm going to, watch the posture video real quick so I can remember as I'm not on my run. So really good resources for you to use. So now that I've done everything, I'm going to open it up to questions and see if there's anything.
EJ, maybe you saw on the chat that Nancy, one of our participants, does have a question about maintaining form. I
see that. Yeah. Tend to lose form in mile 3. Any tips? Yeah. Again, as I said, it gets tougher for all of us. The farther we get into the run, we tend to get a little bit more tired, maybe a little bit distracted. I'm the same way. It's a combination of a few things. Again, the muscle memory is going to be easier to implement the more you practice it. A big part of the reason that we lose our form or it's tougher to implement later into a run as well is just general strength. So something like our good form movement class actually helps to strengthen the muscles that we utilize during both good form running and good form walking. For example, you know, a nice strong core is important to maintaining posture, right? So if my core is a little bit weak, then I'm going to tend to slouch forward a little bit more. You know, foot strength and things like that are good for landing. So it's a combination of practicing and implementing that muscle memory, as well as building endurance in the muscles that we'll be utilizing during good form as well. And then maybe the most important thing is actually just awareness, right? So if you say, I tend to lose it in mile 3, well, that's actually a really good starting point, because you're aware that you're losing it in mile 3, and you can try to adjust and move as closer to that good form when you notice you're moving away from it. I say in class every single time, nobody has perfect form, and nobody even has good form 100% of the time. The idea is to build our awareness for what good form and what common form are. That way we can maintain that good form as much as possible. We're going to get tired. We're going to admit both mentally and physically, and it's going to be tougher to think about those things. But again, it's really great that you're aware of it, because that means once you notice it, you can continue to maybe do some of those drills, do a posture reset, check your cadence and increase that, or whatever it is to move you back towards that good form.
Hey, DJ, I don't have much to add to that, because I agree that awareness is a big part of it. My thing that my daughter laughs at me about is I will regularly do posture resets mid-run or mid-walk, because it just kind of straightens me back up. I have the tendency to a little bit. I know I could work on my core strength, but I will just regularly just posture reset in the middle of the walk or the run, and it resets me. It reminds me of my posture and where I should be, what I should be focusing for. So one way to cheat is to do a lot of posture resets mid-run or mid-walk.
Yeah, all of those drills are really helpful, even if your daughter makes fun of you. That's fun. Any other questions?
I would just want to say, I think that's really good advice. And I think so much running on our own has probably maybe caused some of that. You know, when we're with the team, they often will yell out posture reset. And, you know, then you think about doing it. But when you're on your own, you just, I don't know, I just get by mile 3, I can just tell, you know, I got the floppy hands and I'm not sure where I'm looking, you know, things like that. So good advice.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good that you're wearing it. And if I ever see you running down the road, I'll make sure to screen out my car window, posture reset, you know, and maybe that'll
Thank you very much.
Anything else? Anybody else have any questions?
DJ, I just want to, if you will, we are offering good form at the store. It does require a pre-registration so that we can minimize numbers. What's the best way if they want to come in for an in-person class that has minimized numbers and get filmed? What's the best way for them to register for that?
So if you want to sign up for their class, just go to playmakers.com/good form. It'll take you to a good form page, and you'll see a sign up link on there. Or you can just search for good form playmakers on Run Sign Up. There's a number of ways to find it, but yeah, registering helps, especially with these times we have limited space and things like that. So, but we're teaching them every Tuesday. And I didn't have a full class last night, so there's plenty of opportunities. I'm also hopefully going to be starting up good form walking again soon, either at the end of this month or the beginning of next month, depending on what the schedules look like. So keep an eye out for those as well. And then hopefully Lisa, once her schedule gets a little bit less crazy, if that ever will happen, she'll start teaching our good form movement class again and up and running.
Stretch, strengthening, and roll.
Stretch, that's what I meant. Oh my gosh. I was saying calling good form movement. It used to be called good form movement for like, I don't know how many years. And then we changed it to stretch, strengthen, and roll recently. So yeah, that's what it is. Sorry.
Well, DJ, you are awesome. We have kept it at our 30-minute timeline. And the lots of great tips that no matter how many times I take the class, I always pull something away. So thank you for sharing your expertise. And thank you, Team P. Best wishes with your training.
Thanks. Bye. Thanks for
Everyone.
Enjoy this great day. Thank you.
Thank you.